Slate it, too?
And start.
But it's not. Oh, okay, we are. There we go. 7 seconds in. Hey, look at that, everybody. Bob Saget is here.
Wow, I'm on the Facebook Live version of Woody and Wilcox.
That's right.
Wilcox and Woody.
That sounds better, yes.
I don't like it that way.
Wool's good, but it rubs. I like suede.
How are you, man?
I'm pretty good.
It's been a couple of years.
It's been a couple of years. I haven't been able to be in studio, and now I'm getting to do it again, which makes me really happy.
And you got so excited that you apparently bit part of your face off.
Well, Face Off is a great movie, and my friend's remaking it, but enough about that. What a name drop. David Permit, producer of Face Off.
Well done.
So, yeah, 2 weeks ago I was flying. I've been flying a lot because I'm on tour and working on a new special eventually, but that's why I'm doing a lot of clubs because I can ramble.
Yes.
Yes, 90 minutes of what did he say?
Right.
But I'm really loving it. So, yeah, so I'm on a plane. And all you asked was what happened to your lip. I went right into 2 shows tonight.
Yes, you did.
Comedy
You're a pro.
Zone. I'm on a plane, and my wife says, hey, make sure that when people are eating, that's when you can get the virus spread. Because everybody takes their mask off at the same time. They're inhaling, they're exhaling, they cough, they choke, they spit, you inhale it. But that's really not true because there's a HEPA filter. I don't know. But I took the mask off to eat. And I bit the inside of my lip, which a lot of us have done it before, but it started to get big, and then like a hardened pea-sized thing was inside my lip, and I went to the doctor, and he said, that's got to come out. I said, what? And it was like hardened saliva. I hope you're enjoying your breakfast right now. But hardened, and they had to cut it out, which is Dave Coullier's catchphrase, and they cut it out of my damn lip, and now I'm in recovery, but my lip is kind of weird, so I put some makeup on it just because I was on the TV this morning with the nice ladies over at that QC morning show thing.
Right, that thing.
So I was there, didn't touch them, and
Congrats.
there won't be charges.
Well, you're from Hollywood. You have to
Well, we're
that.
crazy with our pizza places and everything in basements, but no, I'm actually, I'm not getting canceled because I've never done anything but really make some inappropriate jokes over the years, which I don't even do anymore, except a couple. But I tee them up. It's 2 minutes of get ready for this. I'm really sorry, and then 2 minutes of apology, and then everybody feels good. We hold hands and we say a prayer.
Well, and
So
you made
it's
it
like my sex life.
It's exactly like that. You hold hands and say a prayer. You do pinky swears around your important parts.
We won't talk about this anymore.
No, I think we stop right there.
well, and you made it through that story and even mentioned a hard thing in your mouth and didn't make a sexual joke.
There's
there
no
either.
need to. And I said pee in my mouth. And that's not a verb. I am just saying it was like a pea-shaped thing inside my dang lip. And then, dang, I said, that's right. I'm Mark Twain.
Slow it down.
And then he never said dang. He didn't talk. He didn't know. He was painting fences. He's not canceled, I don't think. They didn't cancel Mark Twain.
Really? I think so.
Have they? They should. I mean, why read people anymore?
Who reads?
You almost cancel everything, but I agree with a couple things, or maybe I think everything should just come with a disclaimer on the new book cover, or when you download it, from on your iPad, it says, hey, these were of the time. Like, you need to be told this is from 1932.
Some
Right.
of those do, right? Like
Yeah.
on Disney Plus, some of the shows.
Some
I
of the old
don't
Disneys.
mind it sometimes. What upsets me is, what's difficult is that the whole thing's got to be flipped so quickly. But it's so hard because we're in a pandemic, and then everybody from every direction is saying, you can't say this, or I'm not going to let you tell me I can't say this, or you're taking away my rights, and all this stuff is from every direction. And I'm not doing that in my stand-up. I'm just trying to make people laugh. I just tell them about the pee inside my mouth, and you got to cut it out. And then I just want to make people get along, which is kind of what comedy can do. And you guys do it.
We try, certainly, but I've been to your shows many times. You're not doing a lot of some comics will do current event stuff or a lot of
I do some
political stuff.
I can't help some of them. I mean, once Jeff Bezos's rocket took off, for a comedian, for people to be shocked that they think he didn't know what it looked like.
Right.
Did he realize? I mean, he's a billionaire genius. No, he didn't realize.
Right.
He figured out how to make you buy boxes of things.
Right.
He knows it's a cocket. So, but that's as far as I'll go, you know. But
Right.
I don't believe in cruelty, and I'm sick of all the yelling. I don't want to watch news where everybody's yelling at me
Yeah.
Yeah.
or whimpering. I just want people to do what would be the news. But when you got to fill 24 hours,
Right.
you know, and we're going to talk about things, but first, a special about the 40s.
But what does
Nervous
feel like
laughter ensued.
right. But the thing that is so different is it feels like even things that never would have been considered political, now it's topical news stuff. And then
Yeah.
everybody is either right or left on everything. Like it makes it so much harder to talk about even those basic things that are, everybody's thinking about. Do you find it? the same way?
100%. But I try to talk about the basic things that, I have never had so much airplane material. As a comedian, you end up having it. But I had like one airplane story in 40 years of stand-up, like one 3-minute thing. I've been on planes where there have been real altercations where a tailor altered my suit. And he did my inseam. And
Twice.
then and he let me see his needle and I threaded it. I'm doing sewing jokes. That's as far as I go. I get silly.
Are they so-so?
They're so-so.
Oh,
And, you got to be very thimble in order to...
Thimble. You got to be very thimble.
Instead of nimble.
Oh, man.
Because it's sewing.
Right. That's a
Right?
stretch.
It's not what it seems.
Ask your great-grandmother what
Right?
all
I
of
do it
this
off the
means.
cuff. See, these are dad jokes. Sorry? What?
No comments from the
No,
peanut gallery.
If you interrupt, you have to own it. You have to own it.
You have to remember to cut it out.
Yeah, exactly. That's not bad. That's a Full House reference. The only issue is she doesn't have a mic. That's the only thing.
That is correct.
Yeah, some people don't know they don't have a mic.
Right.
But she was heard.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
heard her.
Right. No,
People heard her.
there's nothing wrong. Can let me...
I love sewing jokes. They're so fun.
Yeah, well, people don't like dad jokes or puns and they think they're bad, but they're not trying to make anybody laugh. And so everybody's just a critic sitting back going, oh, yeah, you said that. I never liked him. Or that's a dad joke. Really? Well, who have you entertained? Who have you made smile? Who have you ever done anything nice for, you bitter little armchair bastard?
There are a lot of bad
Hey, Gen Z,
attitudes.
we need you to move the needle forward. Make us get through this rough time. Stop just critiquing all day long. There are some good 12, 14-year-olds out there. They're nice. They're good people. And there's some others who need to be smacked around a little. But that's just because they're kids. They're trying to learn.
Bob
But everybody's
Saget
on this-
in favor of striking teens. I can see the headline now.
No, I think striking meaning attractive.
No.
In favor of decent-looking young people. But everybody's on this thing. They're on their phone, and so everybody's got a voice and says something usually mean. No one ever says, I try to say nice stuff. That's why Ted Lasso is so popular, because finally we get to see a show that has positive messaging.
Yeah, and that, you think about it, right? That had to have been written prior to all of the pandemic
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
So just amazing timing almost that it hit when that was so needed.
Well, no, those things happen. I mean, that's like a show Manifest. It's like we're all connected. That's that show. The airplane disappears, that's kind of what I believe, and so I started to do my podcast. Bob Saget's Here For You. I don't know how I came up with the title, but it before COVID, and 2 months later they said, oh, you can't go in studio, you can't have guests in studio, so that turned into a Zoom machine, and then I was doing 2 a week, and then I decided to do 1 a week because people have enough to listen to, and I had Jason Sudeikis on, and we talked, and that was right before Ted Lasso was going on the air, and I fell in love with it. I just, it was right when it started, literally. And I just thought it was incredibly special. And the world just fell in love because, he's being a bit of not a prophet, but he's saying some really important stuff. And he's going through his own hard stuff. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff. And I love the other shows, too. I watch all the stuff everybody watches. But, my wife likes stuff and said, you got to watch this show, Manifest. I went, I don't want to watch one of your airplane disaster shows. Right. There'll be close-up reenactments of people panicking as there's turbulence and their drink goes on them and they can't act. She said, that's not what it is. And then I watched it. I said, why didn't you tell me it was sci-fi? Why didn't you tell me that it was a cool show? That's what I like. This amazing thing about the premise of the show. And then I watched it and I went nuts over it. I started following the showrunner on Twitter, and then he reaches out to me and tells me we know all the same people. He's from Philly, so I'm having dinner with him and his wife Sunday with my wife.
What?
So that's like really that we all are connected because of Twitter. If you haven't been canceled off of Twitter, you
But-
can
so-
still make friends.
The Ted Lasso thing is fascinating to me too, because
Right.
I love Jason Sudeikis from SNL and all that, and then I
And
expected
movies.
it to be just silly, and it is silly in a fun way, but it had such a twist that it was unexpected how much of a message and how much of a
Yeah.
vibe that it was putting out that wasn't just comedy. I
And
was
that's
really
what
blown by
I was
that,
just
blown away by
watching.
that.
You were what by it?
I was blown by that. I think I said
Yeah,
it.
I was too because I went to an oral surgeon recently, and he took out that pee in my mouth that was inside, and I was blown by it, blown away by it. But, you don't have to hit the dump button, but they call it a dumb button. That should be censored.
Yeah, it should.
That's not right. But it's Facebook Live, so anything can go.
Correct.
All parts are needed. Every part of the cow must be used. But with Ted Lasso, Bill Lawrence, I saw him actually on an interview this morning on the Emmy site, and he was talking about how they didn't know it was going to be a hit. They just wanted to do something that unified them all and made them all feel better. And so to do an empowering show and to be not winning, we're in such a weird society where if you don't have the number one something, you're a loser. If your team loses, that's what the show's about, the agony of defeat.
Yep.
And yeah, some winning because they got where they got in
Yep.
season 2. But there was a show on just last week that I thought was one of the best ones they ever made. And the first season is what I fell in love with.
Right.
But yeah, the point that they wanted to do something that made them better people. And what Jason was telling me on my podcast was that he just wishes he was more like Ted Lasso. And that's enough to make you cry right there, because he's already an emotional guy that cares a great deal about a lot of things, and
Yeah.
so that's it's a beautiful. There's a lot of great shows. I mean, they really have. We've really been seeing some amazing television because they can't and movies that were going to be in theaters. So
Well, there's so much. Like, I feel it bothers me actually because there's so many platforms and so many good shows, and everybody's always like, "You hear about this show?" I'm like, I don't. There's only so much time
right.
in the day.
Well, you need to
consume
put
it all.
aside 9 to 10 hours a day for streaming. People stream. Bill Cosby used to, but it's a different kind of streaming.
I think you mean R. Kelly on that
Oh,
one.
yeah, they're both not having a good year. But to them, Bill he's out, which I don't want to pass judgment, but he should be not out. And I don't know, he's offering pudding pops to people. And
Chelsea and I had a pudding
I
pop.
did. I used to love pudding pops. Loved them.
yeah, you
And
can't anymore.
You can't.
Nothing
and I don't even,
sold
they won't
by
even
him.
Make them the
No.
same. No.
Well, you got to be careful. There might be a roofie in it if it comes from his house.
Well, that's true.
I don't want to talk about him. I feel bad I brought it up because we're talking positive. All of a sudden, I died.
I know,
into
and it
the
ruins
depths
snack
of
foods too. So
Can we talk about another great comedian? that
Anything.
supposedly you're doing a documentary on. Is
Yeah.
this true? With Martin Mull?
Yeah, I've been working on this documentary for 3 years and with Martin Mull, but COVID shut us down. And one of the last people we were able to film before the whole thing really happened was Fred Willard, because they did Fernwood Tonight together and America Tonight.
Yes.
And so I'm very excited about it. We're finishing up filming. I just did Michael McKean the other day. And we have in it Steve Martin and Eric Idle from Monty Python, of course, and David Allen Greer, who just won the Tony. I like to give credits when people don't, because
He didn't
listeners
see the
need to
Tonys.
know.
I saw the Tonys.
Tony's is for theater people, but you
Yes.
don't have time. You can't even watch the
don't.
streaming shows.
Exactly.
And
Correct.
it's a very special documentary because Martin Mull, if you don't know who he is, you will, because the younger people know him from Sabrina, and he was on Roseanne, and he was in the movie Clue. We had Leslie Ann Warren and Michael McKean from Clue, because it's a very cultish film now.
Yep.
But Martin is an amazing musician, a great comedian, and one of the best artists I've ever seen. He is a painter that is just, you won't believe his work if you haven't seen it. So if you Google Martin Mull and look at the paintings, he's just amazing. So we should be done with that by the end of the year, and then we'll figure out where it's going. We just made it. Kevin Bright, one of the producers of Friends, exec producer, is the reason I was even brought in as a director, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's really strong.
So the documentary itself wasn't your idea initially.
It
You
was
came in as
Kevin
a director.
Bright's idea.
Okay.
We had lunch. I paid for it, and he said, "Would you like to direct?" And I said, "Yeah, that would be a nice thing to do." And that's what happened. And then Kevin just says, go with God, Bob, and finish the thing, because it's years. It takes years sometimes to film all the people that are involved. I've yet to do Patton Oswalt coming up next week, and and I believe Tom Waits. We'll see what he sends us because they all. Tom was on Fernwood tonight. Some people don't know who Tom Waits is, and if you don't, you got to get some albums and listen to some music.
So I didn't know about the artist part of it.
Oh, his art is what he cares about most since he went to art school when he was in his 20s.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I just Googled it as
It's
Bob was talking about.
astonishing.
It's absolutely amazing.
And it brings up social injustice. It brings up a lot of racial inequalities, things that were happening in the 50s. And he also did shows that nobody's seen that were HBO, The History of White People in America. And it's a satire. People don't get satire now, right? So he would turn Norman Rockwell on his ear with what he painted. And, The History of White People in America was basically saying, Martin Mull saying, we've heard so many things have been represented. We have Shogun, we have Roots, and he named all the wonderful, over the years, movies, television things that have been tributes to different cultures and nationalities. And he said, but what about the white man? I mean, the white man never gets any recognition, and that's supposed to be a joke.
Right.
And it was way ahead of its time.
Right.
So I'm paying homage to him because he was one of the people. I do musical comedy forever.
Yes.
And I started doing it, and I love doing it. And he was one of the best, wrote the best comedy songs I ever heard. So those are fun things, and they'll all be in the movie, so people will get to see this great artist. It's kind of like when Judd Apatow did the Gary Shandling great 2-part documentary series that I was in because Gary and I had a friendship for a while. It's difficult, and I think what Judd did for Gary was really put him in the world of comedy forever, where Gary might have not had the recognition, and then you look at. I'll bring it up because it's an elephant in my life in the room. The loss of Norm Macdonald, who was. You don't realize how dear a friend is until they're gone. It's so weird. May nobody ever know, but it's going to happen. We're all going to die. I mean, I'm holding 2 knives. The odds of me dying are very strong.
He's currently
Very
poking
sweet.
himself with a corkscrew.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
You already bit your lip.
I'm
Be
gonna screw
careful over
myself
the-
in my
Whatever
wrist, but.
works.
The thing about Norm, I think, probably the average person knows him from Saturday Night Live and maybe a couple of the movies. It seems like to a person that comedians especially revere Norm because he had a quality on stage about not caring or seemingly not caring whether he was getting a laugh or whether people were uncomfortable, one of those sorts of situations that
Right.
you don't always see from people.
He was
And-
fearless in
Yeah.
getting a concept out, and Andy Kaufman did that.
Yeah.
A few people have done that, and now we're living in. Dave Chappelle does that. Bill Burr does that, and they're going, "Look, I've just got to weather the storm." I'm not doing a comedian's job. If you watch the Chappelle trailer for his new special, he's saying the job is to say things that are against the grain, and that's how you. That's one. You can look at it that way, or some comedians aren't like that. You look at Seinfeld or Brian Regan, are really great comedians,
Right.
or Sebastian. People that are out there just doing what they do in their way, and they're not trying to break any rules. I definitely have always seen people, if they know me from Full House, they don't know I did 13 years of stand-up before that.
Right.
So I was always going outside the box. You're an outsider when you're a comedian, and Norm was truly an outsider. It was though an alien had landed to Earth, learned the Queen's English, and decided this is how he was going to speak. He had an amazing bandwidth of brain,
Yeah.
and he did take it hard with SNL when he was gone, and he did take it hard when people didn't like his shows, and he would, that was a bad show. He would feel bad about it, but he was also a very complex guy.
Yeah.
And I loved him a lot because I directed Dirty Work, and we were going to do a sequel. We have a script, we had the financing, we had everything.
Is that right?
Yeah, we were ready to go, and we had commitments from major stars to be in it because everybody wanted to work with Norm. So it's interesting. We didn't expect him. I didn't know. I knew something was wrong near the end because I was like, well, we got to talk about this because we're about to get going.
Right.
And he didn't know. I don't think.
That it was
I know that this was not expected. His
Yeah.
death to leukemia.
When that one hit, that one hurt a lot, I think, and it's because whenever I saw Norm with other comedians, and you saw how much and how deep the other comedians are laughing, at what Norm is saying. When you
Yeah.
can make a comedian laugh, right? You see it. But then when there's that guttural, like a loss of control when he was on with Jon Stewart talking about the death of the crocodile hunter, John's doubled over saying, don't make me laugh at this. And that was Norm Macdonald taking somebody who's funny for a living and knows funny and just reducing him to just a pile of giggles. It was,
And the key was he was saying kind of what you're thinking that you're not supposed to say,
Right.
But he had a charm about it. And yes, some of the things, if he, if he were to do them today, first thing that would be cool because he'd be alive.
Right.
But if he were to do them today, he would, probably not do them. He would make a different choice. Because he changed, he grew. You get older, and I'm 65, so I have more. I'm not out there just talking about my wiener, although there's a good 20 minutes of it in my new material. So it's not 90 minutes of it; it's just 20.
the name of the new album is not 90 Minutes of Wiener.
Only
No,
20.
actually, there's a great new name, but I can't tell you. So it'll be a special, is what I'll be working on. I'm hoping to do it in the fall because I've been rolling it on the road, and that's why I love doing like the Comedy Zone, and I get to just do 2 shows a night because when you're doing all new stuff, it's not like, oh crap, I've got to get this done. I'm doing the same show, I'm doing the same work, and it's not. It's all new. So every time I do it, I'm invigorated.
Yeah.
Like I've got 2 shows tonight, and I can't wait because I want to remember what I did last weekend. And sometimes it's like I was talking to Nikki Glazer yesterday on her new show on the E! Channel, and she was FaceTiming me on the show, asking me for advice about comedy and following your voice and all the stuff we tell each other. And we're kind of cut from the same cloth. She's a younger version of me. What she does is reminiscent of when I did the special that got me in a lot of trouble, That Ain't Right on HBO, which had F-bombs every, it was a drinking game. It was 300 F-bombs, I think. I don't know. I did it at NYU at the Skirball Theater, and that seemed like the way to go with that audience. I didn't know. And maybe I was nervous. I think it might be. Some people have said that it's a nervous thing to use that word. I watched a thing years ago with Ricky Gervais hosting it, and it was with Louis C.K. and Jerry and Chris Rock, and they were talking about, use of the F word. And people, a couple of guys said, yeah, I think it's out of nerves, or as a rim shot, you say the word,
Right, yeah.
or is it? I try not to use it as a verb,
Right.
but I don't curse that much like I used to. I like to talk like a 12-year-old boy, pretty much.
Right. Same.
So do they. Yeah.
That's why we love you.
That's the key, and it's I think it doesn't offend as many people. I think.
So you said Nikki was coming to you for some legitimate advice on something.
Legitimate on the air on the E! Channel
Well, okay.
for her new series. But yeah, we are friends and we do talk.
We love Nikki. She's been on the show too.
She's fantastic.
yeah.
I mean,
she was
she's
just in Charlotte a couple of weeks ago. Was there somebody when you were younger that you went to for that? Any legitimate?
yeah. I
comedic
mean, I
advice?
had my major mentors, and I talked about it ad nauseum. I got an ad about nausea.
Thank you.
Rodney, I met Rodney when I was 24, and I became friends with him. He put me on his first young comedian special that he hosted, which had Sam Kinison. That's where he blew up.
Yep.
And it also had Louis Anderson, Rita Rudner, and Yakov Smirnov. And it was the 9th annual Young Comedian special on HBO. And Richard Pryor, who I knew from the Comedy Store because I hosted there for 8 years before I was known for Full House or the video show.
Yeah.
And I was doing my kind of comedy, and Richard took a liking to me, Robin, all these people that I looked up to. And Richard was one of my idols, and I got to know him, really well. I did a movie with him, Critical Condition, and it was after he was in the fire. I mean, I was friends with Don Rickles, very close with him. Stamos was close with him, so I got to know Don really well. I got to know pretty much anybody living that I looked up to. But those guys were the guys that I actually were. I didn't know I'd be a comedian. I won some radio contest in Philly at 17 years old, singing a song about bondage. And that's really because of Martin Mull. That I would say I didn't lift his stuff, but he had done a song called the song.
Okay.
And he said, I'm going to curse, but I'm not going to curse. So instead of cursing and upsetting you guys, anytime there's any foul language, I'm going to hum. So he goes, and we began to and then he go, whips and chains, Great Danes, I don't remember, and then, from the chandelier,
Right.
and a what is it? And a tub of Valvoline, just like odd, funny,
Yeah.
intelligent stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was a role model. So Martin was another person. Here I am getting to make a documentary about him also to give him the hero worship that I think he deserves.
Here's the strangest thing. I doubt this has come up while you're doing the filming for the documentary. When I think of Martin Mull, the first thing for some reason I think of is he did a part on Chris Elliott's sitcom, Get a Life. Did you ever see Get a Life? They had
No.
3 seasons where he was a paper boy, lived at home with his parents. Bob Elliott,
Oh,
his real dad, was his dad.
Yes, I did see this show.
One episode, Martin Mull played a TV host, and Chris Elliott won the opportunity to have Martin Mull as this character come and live with him for the weekend. And it was a fantastic episode. I'm sure no one ever thinks of Martin Mull from that episode.
I bet they do.
Bring that up to him at some point.
Yeah.
And because he was so damn
He's
funny
done
in it.
so many things. If you go to his IMDb, you're like, what? And then younger people go, I don't know him. And then they go, oh my God, I love him.
That guy.
Because they don't realize.
Yes.
I mean, Sabrina for a lot of young ladies.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter's an artist, and she knew his daughter Maggie, who's also in the documentary. And my oldest daughter is an artist and saw his art studio and said, Dad, he really likes you. You should come here. This was like a long time ago, like 15 years ago. And I said, I don't know. I'm insecure. It's Martin Mull. But he and I had known each other through people. He's a very shy guy.
Okay.
But now it's way beyond that. Now we've made love.
Sounds like it.
It's what you do.
It's beautiful.
Bring it back
It
around.
is.
I can't wait for that. I really can.
Thank you. I can't wait to finish it.
That's a fun life moment for you too.
It's a lot of work.
It reminds me of when, remember Steve Byrne did the documentary on The Amazing Jonathan,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. I don't know if you've seen that one.
No,
But
no.
That's,
And hopefully for you, there was another crew also doing a documentary on the amazing Jonathan. So hopefully there's not a secondary crew for
No,
Martin
they can't.
Mull.
No, they can't because, I got, Steve Martin and Eric Idle, and I've got the people and Norman
win.
Lear. So I've got and Fred's gone. So I've got, I'm laughing, and I love Fred Willard so much.
yeah.
But then, I don't know what they're going to do with Norm. Judd Apatow is working on I think it'll be the definitive George Carlin documentary. And the key is not to make one of these celebrity profiles. I think that's what some people start out to do, and you can't do that with a Martin Mull. And George Carlin is kind of, if you watch his stuff now, he's like a prophet. I mean, he says stuff, and you go, whoa.
Yeah.
He's saying it, but no one else could right now. If a
Right.
comedian got out and got on that soapbox and talked about the things he's talking about, they would be dismembered
Yeah.
by any side because he's
Right.
sitting there telling you that you have no rights, you have no power, you never will. That's what Carlin says and all these things you look at on TikTok because I end up, your algorithm gets followed. People go, I don't see George Carlin on TikTok. I said, well, you're not me. They got my algorithm. They know what I look at.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't want to know what you look at other than that.
It's just mostly zebra porn.
Zebra.
Zebra.
porn.
Yeah, because that represents all colors of the rainbow.
There's 2 colors to the rainbow.
Yeah, and they're not colors.
That's
No, I've
good.
never looked at animal porn. I don't know why.
Great.
Well, I don't need to because I've
You don't
got
know what you're missing.
no, but I have animals in my home,
Oh, so you
and they're in thongs, and I have a disco ball,
you're
and
more of a producer.
yeah. Well, no, I'm a player. I put dollars in their thong. If it's a good giraffe, I have a high ceiling.
You told me earlier that an elephant never forgets when you touch him.
Yeah, they don't forget. They never forget being touched. That's why you got to be really careful if you do something with an elephant because they'll press charges. They don't forget.
I want to do 2 things. First of all, if you're
I
in
do too. Can I do them here?
If you're in Charlotte, Bob has got 2 shows tonight at the Comedy Zone, and then I know 2 tomorrow, but I think one of them at least is sold out tomorrow.
Yeah, they're close to all of them being sold out, but I want people to laugh. So if you want to laugh and won't be too blue, and it'll be just blue enough for people to go. Some people go, you weren't dirty enough. I said, oh, all right. And then I curse at them for 5 minutes. But
Right.
yeah, I want them to bring their moms because moms haven't had a good laugh. And by moms, I'm meaning over 50, 50, 60, 70. I get my audience is 18 with a fake ID to death. I get such a diverse audience.
I believe that. Last time you were here, I think I said you're the most famous person in the world because you have every
No.
genre. You have every
You
genre. You have old women.
Well, not the world. I mean, there's people.
No.
I'm not. I'm English speaking somewhat, but not. I mean, like England didn't carry me. Now they do carry Full House, but that was 35 years ago.
All right.
So
Should I say North America then? I guess
I'm fine with North America.
Okay,
Okay.
good. Famous in North America.
Elephants remember North America, and Tiger King's coming back.
Yes.
That's upsetting. I did a gig in Florida, and this wonderful gentleman brought me into the theater in Clearwater, or was it? No, it was Jacksonville. And he said he's the lawyer for what's his name? Tiger King.
That guy.
Yeah. And he said that Joe Exotic.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he said, "Oh, Joe's in prison right now, but he's such a big fan of yours." I'm like, "Oh, this is good." I said, Carol Baskin killed her husband. So it's always good. But I'm not going to go visit Joe.
That's probably wise.
I think not. I just think, although I don't know, elephants don't forget, tigers remember.
that's been my
Tigers
slogan.
got short-term memory. They must smoke a lot of dope.
I didn't know that.
Because they maul you and then they don't remember.
And they're fascinated with balls.
They are, aren't they? Yeah,
But
that's the end of me.
They can't put their paws over the thing in the bong, so it's very hard for them to smoke. the
That's
weed.
unfortunate for them.
Yeah,
I bet Tony the Tiger could because he had a lot of good moves. I think because of being in show business, I think Tony the Tiger was able to use his paws to cover the bong hole. Have you ever had your bong hole covered?
I can't tell you guys to do this at lunch because we're basically at lunch. So
Is this
always
lunch?
tell them to work it
she-
out over lunch.
Whenever we get on a subject that she doesn't like, she's like, "Can you guys cover this at lunch?"
Oh, I see. I
Like
apologize.
animals and how they would use a bong.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's not upsetting.
No, it's not.
That's cartoonish. The other stuff I thought was more offensive.
You're not. You don't upset me or offend me.
Oh, darn it.
So you're not trying hard enough.
No, I don't want to. I actually don't want to offend anybody, but that's
No, I just love having
That's
you in.
impossible
I love
to
hearing Your
do.
stories. We love hearing your stories.
oh, you guys.
Can you tell before we let you? Can you tell us more about the or more because we haven't talked about it? The scleroderma.
Yeah, that's correct. Scleroderma, it's a Latin word. It means hardening of the skin. Derma means skin, and sclero means, I guess, hardening. When I get back to the hotel, I'll be sclero.
I don't want to know about it.
That's not
just
good
in
to
your
mention
lip.
disease comedy. My lip is messed up from biting it. But
You do an amazing benefit every year.
Thank you.
And it's coming up.
yeah, we've done them. This is our second virtual event because we always do them live in L.A. and New York and San Francisco. And it's called Cool Comedy Hot Cuisine. And I'm a board member of the Scleroderma Research Foundation. There's another organization, but they're not called the Scleroderma Research Foundation. We have research as the key because we've raised over $50 million in 30 years. Wow. And Robin Williams was the first person to ever do it because our founder, Sharon Monsky, who was a friend of mine. If people don't know, scleroderma is a disease that it's very upsetting, and it can be mild where you get Raynaud's arthritis. You might meet some people that have it, and 80% of the victims of this disease are women in the prime of their lives. And my sister got it, and she passed in 1994, and she was misdiagnosed, mistreated. I would have sued the doctors. One of them passed on, who was really mistreating people, just giving them prednisone and cortisone rather than learning about the disease. Right. So this organization my friend started, Robin Williams ended up doing the benefits 7 times over 30 years. He would just come up and say, "What do you need, Chief?" And I would, and then he would be on stage with me. And the only way to diffuse Robin Williams, I would dry hump him. That was the only way. And that would whoa.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can't. He was so magnetic, and he was a ray of light, everywhere. So we kept using comedy as the format, and then I ended up hosting it before my sister passed. Before she was diagnosed, I was hosting it, and then she fortuitously got this disease. And no, that wasn't meant for a laugh. Fortuitous means you didn't know it was going to happen.
I thought it meant you were fortunate that it happened.
No,
Really?
not for that would be if she fortunately got this.
Somebody
disease.
look up
fortuitous. No, I know it. I've used it. I wrote a book. So no, fortuitous means you can't believe it's going to happen.
Okay.
You can Google. I'll Google it
No,
for you. No, I want you to learn the English.
Damn it, Bob
I mean, it's
Saget.
important. Here we go.
I thought it was good fortune is the
Definition fortuitous. Okay, so it says mission fortuitous. So Siri is really a good friend. All right, here we go. You ready? A definition of fortuitous, happening by accident or chance rather than design. So it's kind of cosmic. It's kind of, yeah, you guys literally don't know what you're talking about, but that's fine. It's
par for the course.
The similarity between the paintings may not be simply fortuitous. So there might be some meaning of it that you can't figure out. Yeah, fortunate would have been a despicable thing for me to say.
I really do
Despicable
appreciate that.
means heinous.
Yes. that I
Heinous
had.
means you're doing something that rhymes with.
I knew you were going to go there.
Because it was fortuitous of you. So, in other words, I did this scleroderma event as a host before my sister was even sick. I somehow, with the rare disease, became a host of something because this great woman who's founded the organization. So my sister fortuitously was in the audience a year later, and then a year later passed because she got a bad extreme version. So the last live benefit was everybody should have been at that one. And we've tried to raise a lot of money on the live events, but we haven't because of COVID, obviously. But the last one was in L.A., and on stage was Dave Chappelle, John Mayer, myself, John Stamos, Ken Jeong. And we everybody had done independent sets and everything. Yeah. And that's how fortunate I am to know people and have friends that are that giving.
Yeah.
And Dave Chappelle made me put on the invitations. Dave Chappelle says he might come to the event.
Right.
Everything's filthy. I've ruined the world. But so we're doing our second virtual event, and it's live on October 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. And we're rolling in a lot of the videoed pieces, and it's really going to be wonderful. And it's we have great music people. I've got Ben Folds and Counting Crows and some other wonderful people. And Joel McHale and Ken Jeong are doing a thing, and BJ Novak and Mindy Kaling. And Regina Hall, amazing actress, is on the board of our foundation. And her mother sadly passed, but she also had scleroderma. And it's just Whoopi's going to do a thing, Jimmy Kimmel. I've got a lot of people that are helping me out. And we raised $1.1 million last year with the virtual event, and we're doing it again October 17th. And people can get info about the disease or about this benefit at, here we go, srfcure.org. So that's S like Sam, okay, F like Frank, SRF, oh, I forgot the R, research. So srfcure.org, and that is where people can register and if they want to watch it.
Yeah.
And it's only an hour and 15 with a pre-show, and it's called Cool Comedy Hot Cuisine, and people can eat and drink is the idea while we're starting it off. That's what we have planned. We actually say if you give real money, you can get meals delivered to you, like really fine, cool gourmet stuff and alcohol or mocktails.
All right.
A mocktail is when you don't have a tail. It's a fake tail.
Okay. Somebody look
Shallow
that up.
Hal
Okay.
would be.
I get it.
Did you see Shallow
I
Hal
did.
where he had a little tail?
It was filmed here.
Jason Alexander. He's my guest on my podcast Monday.
Okay.
So, and we talk about his little tail, but he doesn't want to talk about it because it was a little nub, a little tiny little thing, cute little thing.
I've been there.
Didn't have a hole in it.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't. What?
So
It's weird to go from disease to that. Isn't it?
Well, you know what though? You got to bring it back.
I have to at least make people go, what?
Yeah.
It just can't make them laugh after something so sad. You know, my sister passed away, and now I'd like to talk about.
Jason Alexander's weenie.
Yeah,
No,
Right.
his
it's not a weenie; it's a
tail.
nub.
Oh, sorry.
His little butt nub. Right. So don't bite your lip on a plane.
Amen. I've always said that, and you've embodied that fortuitously.
I'm so fortuitous. It's, by the way, I was such a jerk. It's literally the only word I know. You'll hear me, continuously say it.
I will
That's
too
all I
now.
say. That was so fortuitous of you.
Yeah, I
Boy,
can't
Bob
wait.
knows 2 words.
I can't wait to use it in the wild and then reference you as my.
Yeah, use it in the
source.
Congo when you go there to find tigers and elephants that you just want to check. You don't want to do anything with them.
Right.
I
Just
heard
have them turn their head and cough.
and the elephants remember when you touch them.
They don't forget.
Yeah.
That was that mouse on the back of the elephant and the coconut hits the elephant on the head. You know that joke.
Right.
Can't say it on the air.
Right.
Not on Facebook Live. I mean,
No.
we're talking to people that are on Facebook.
Certainly not.
Only good things happen on Facebook.
That's
I live in Russia. I need help with school. Here are
Right.
pictures of me naked. Well, you're going to school. Good for you.
go see this guy, Charlotte, tonight, tomorrow night.
Don't call me Charlotte.
Go to bobsaget.com. I see all the tour dates.
I'm going crazy.
It's lengthy, if I may use that expression.
Thank you, and say it again. That was so fortuitous of you. I actually, I am touring until I have to figure out a couple more things of stand-up that I love. You try to work on it and hone it, and then I want to have fun, and I get to entertain people at the same time.
Yeah. And someday there'll be a special that comes out of all of this.
It'll be this year.
Yeah.
It has to be because it's kind of current. And the problem we have as comedians is you got to be able to do it in a place. A lot of the streaming services, don't want to show masks in the audience. And people there's many schools of thought about this, obviously, and it's a controversy, which is what I don't know if you heard.
I haven't.
I actually have one internally inside my throat, like the choke on a car. So that's how.
Wow,
So
ask
I
your
always am
grandparents what a
masked.
choke is.
Yep.
Somebody look up choke on a car.
I have one in my butt also it's like a coffee filter, just to make sure, because it gets rid of my diverticulitis,
Itis.
itis.
Or osis. Yeah.
Oh, oasis.
Yes, that too.
But you have to dive for it.
There's a lot of water.
There's so much water that goes through there because I'm on a liquid diet because of my mouth. But yeah, you gotta do a special that I want it to be evergreen and run forever. So you want to make sure. I don't know though. I want to own where we're at too. So
Yeah.
I just had to figure out what to do. So all my biz peeps are working on it.
Awesome.
Not yet. 'Cause it's too early because we're on a different time zone.
Right.
I mean, I can't get them to work at 8 in the morning. I don't get it.
Hollywood.
Hollywood is they're so
Californians,
devious.
man.
Oh yeah, it's the whole world. They're ruining it because they're my friends. I mean, I'm scared because we got fires and we got a lot of cities are like in trouble. And I've been going everywhere. So, because I have to go a lot, but
Liquid diet.
Well, I was in San Francisco where it's just downtown is just like a lot of cities. It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
And I was just in Portland, and I feel like I'm literally going there as a person to try to help, try to show I'm going there. I'm not scared to go places. I'll go. I was in Texas opening places. I was in Florida. I said to my agent, this is a joke, actually. I said, where can I work? He said, Florida, Texas. I said, is that a city? Because it sounded like it was, and I went. I'm playing Austin in a couple months, but Austin's in a different realm, and yet there's tragedy there right now. The world is suffering big time. So I'm trying to do whatever I can.
You're the first responder. We need you, Bob.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm opening a club in Afghanistan. I'm pretty excited about it.
Baby steps.
That can quiet a room, right?
When you bomb in Afghanistan.
Don't even.
No.
It's just not.
Bob, why would you say that?
No, the club's at the airport, dude. It's safe. It's a lounge. It's
All right. But before we go any further, let's cut it. Let's
I
move
think
on.
that's good. Yeah, I would. Why did he do that?
I don't
Why
know.
did I? Well, by the way, those kind of things that I just said, and you are probably going to get fired after this, but it's okay.
We hope.
Are done because things are upsetting. It's not mocking, but that's not a good disclaimer. It just shouldn't be said. So we slip up, I think. And some people that get upset are justified, but they also aren't in this position of being in front of a mic and having a sense of humor that sometimes goes dark because things are so bad. Yeah. So I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying it comes with the territory somewhat.
You're fired.
Okay. I'm fine with that. I'm going to go rest my lip.
Yeah, you should go rest your lip.
But I also want to wish everybody well that's listening or watching on this Facebook Live.
Yeah.
They're watching, right?
They're watching
And
listening,
listening.
hopefully.
And listen. Can you listen on the Facebook Live?
Yeah.
Of course.
So you stream it. Does it also have a streaming site? Is
You
it
mean
on
your
your
face?
thing? Is it on the?
We'll put it up on the YouTube
It'll
after we're
be
done.
on YouTube, yeah.
But audibly, if
Yep.
you just want to listen to it audibly, is it?
Then you just cover up the screen.
You just close your eyes.
Right. Oh, however
Do
you
you have
want to
any?
do it.
Do you have any duct tape?
Right, I can do that.
Just a quick blindfold, and all you're
But
doing
this
is
is
listening.
owned by iHeart, right?
Yep.
So does it come out on the iHeart app that they could listen to it?
It will go on our podcast, which will be on the iHeart app. Yes.
That's where I'm going to listen to it.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I want to hear the stuff I shouldn't have said.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
for sure.
I'll be self-loathing the rest of the day. So fortuitous.
That's the least we could do, yeah.
I'm going to go, do you have elephants here?
Yes.
Is there a zoo?
They're in the hallway bending over.
Oh, how can you say that? You're fired. Elephants don't bend over unless they're in the circus and they've been forced. They kneel on their front legs. That's them bending over because they are large things.
That's right.
Did he just Santa hat an elephant for
I
us?
think maybe.
Maybe.
Bob, thank you.
I hope to see you. Can you guys come to the thing?
Yeah, no, we're
Maybe.
not.
You want to come
But-
eat food with me today?
Where?
Taste of Charlotte.
Where you
Just
gotta
let
go?
me know. I'm going to go to Taste of Charlotte today if you want.
Oh, I would love to, but I'm going to
judge
sleep.
food.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
if you
you
could
do
drop
need
some
to.
tastes off
Yeah.
at
I'll
the,
drop some food off for you.
I'm staying at the Slip It In, which is off of the 73.
I'll send my husband.
Okay, I want to see him. Tell him to bring some cupcakes.
I shall.
Go see Bob. He's in Charlotte tonight, Comedy Zone, and tomorrow night too. CLT
Which show
Comedy
you guys
Zone.
come to? Find one that's not sold out. Come to a late show. Come on. What are you going to do? It's Saturday tomorrow.
I'm going to end the video now, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Come on, guys. This turns into payola.